Hello, 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 and welcome to another live stream here on the Here to Record YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining in as always. Hopefully you can hear and see me just fine. I can see that I'm coming in a little quiet as I often am as things kick off. I do some tests before I go live and then I back off a little whenever I start talking. So maybe that fixed it just a little bit. You can let me know if it's still too quiet and I can tweak things as we go forward. So as usual, there's plenty of stuff to get to, but I just want to kick things off by saying hello to everyone who's joined in. And I asked because Jeremy threw up the comment here saying good morning from Australia. It's 2:40 a.m. Don't think I'm asleep. Don't think I'm sleeping tonight, which is it's an early start to the day. So I did throw up the question of where people are coming from. And here we have Miguel, who's a member of the channel as well, saying from Russia. It's currently 21:45. That was 15 minutes ago. Almost noon here in Texas. Randy, thanks for joining as well. MT, thanks for joining as well. 6:45 p.m. here in Hanover. You're in the same time zone as me, and it's also currently 10 degrees Celsius down where Jeremy is in Australia. A little bit chilly. Tim, thanks for being here as well. Plenty of members joining in, which is always excellent. Thanks for that. Sun is sitting here in Nottingham, UK. Or sun is shining here. It's not sitting there. It's shining there, which is excellent. Yes. Lots of friendly faces here approaching 6 o'clock in the UK. You're absolutely right, Tim. And yeah, we had some comments before about the sort of waiting music and at the start there, which is quite funny. But we're on with the show now, and lots of people joining in a little bit late here. Peter from Castle, it's about the same time as me there as well. So thanks for joining in from Israel as well. Excellent, good to see you and have you here as well. I will continue to work my way through some of those a little bit later as well. And here's the final comment for now. Jeremy saying before the stream starts, just want to say I hope you're all having a great day. That's excellent. Thank you, Jeremy. What a positive way to kick off the show. That's really cool of you. So I have plenty of stuff to get through today, as you might have saw in the description, thumbnail, and all that normal stuff. But I think we'll just kick things off with a few main updates before I go any further into the actual show here today. First up, the newsletter. I'm just going to paste a link to the newsletter here on the Here to Record website, h2r.li/newsletter. That's kind of the main way, or one of the many ways, of course, to keep in touch with me and what I'm up to. But I've gotten in a pretty good routine now of sending out a newsletter 30 minutes before this live stream starts every Monday. So if you do want to be reminded, if you're not using notifications or you want to use this as well as notifications, then it's probably best just to have it come into your inbox and have it come all different directions, and then you can be up to date. I just remembered I didn't post it in Discord either, so I usually do that. But you know what? I think that'll be okay for today. I'll just continue on. So that's the newsletter. Sign up. It's free. Why not? The second thing I wanted to talk about, and I posted a link below this video, and you know what? I think I'll also post a link to it in the chat here now. But you'll find a link in the comment or in the description as well if you're watching on demand. But I'm trying to run a H2R Graphics version 2 survey. So you'll see the link below there. It's like forms.google. It's just a standard Google form. And that link will give you access to the questionnaire, and you'll be able to answer the questions in the questionnaire. It would actually really help me if you can do that. Feel free to do it now while we're chatting here. Don't go too far away, but fill it out. Maybe we can come back to some of the answers later in the show, in the post show especially. So have it open in another tab and do it later, or else just do it now while I chit chat and talk through some things. Here's the very lovely link. Let me just get rid of these for a second. I don't expect anybody to type that out, so I decided not to do that. Excuse me. So instead, just click the link. It'll be a bit easier for you. So let's get rid of that. And then the final update for this week, before we talk about fun products and stuff, is what did I write there? Last week's Zoom Hangout. Exactly. So members of the channel here, which you saw plenty of kind folks join as members there. There's a little member tag beside their name. But last week after the live stream, so we did the show, we did the post show, and then we did a members only Zoom Hangout. So that was for anybody on Patreon And anyone who's a member here on the YouTube channel, you can be a member by clicking the join link below the video. But I pasted a link to a Zoom hangout, and there was about 5, 6, up to 7 of us, I think, at one point, just hanging out. I thought, honestly, it would last for like 30 minutes and we just talk about a few bits and pieces. But we ended up talking for 90 minutes about all sorts of topics from, A10 minis to cables to, well, just about everything in the tech sphere. We varied and we veered off of that a little bit and talked about retirement and all those sorts of things. There's a few faces here in the chat that were there as well, members of the channel. So if you want to be a part of that, it's probably going to be a monthly thing. I think the date might shift around a little bit, but the best way to keep in touch is to get the link for that, and the time for that is to be a part of the members only Discord channel. And to be in that channel, you have to become a member in the channel or a patron. So that's a quick update on what's happening this week. But the Zoom hangout last week was a lot of fun. So thanks for everyone watching along here today who was part of that and joined in. I really enjoyed it a lot, which was excellent. So that's your sort of updates. We have lots of new faces that came in while I was chatting there. Hello from Canada. Hello from Mumbai. Hello. Thank you so much for joining as well. Joel. And hello from North Carolina. And hello from Greece as well. I'm always kind of blown away by people from all over the place watching. And greetings from Metro Detroit as well. Jim, nice to have you here watching along. You missed the Zoom call last week, but that's no problem. Always, there's always the next one. We'll get you then, and we'll get you in on it, definitely. So, that was a lot of talking on general updates, but this is I think this live stream is my sort of weekly chance to give people a general update on what's going on. I know lots of people read stuff in the Discord, lots of people read it on the email, but I also know that plenty of people watch this on the on demand as well, so it's nice to just loop everybody in on what's happening for sure. Alrighty, and Argentina as well, excellent, and Dominica as well. So, and yes, Tim's absolutely right here. It was great fun on the Zoom hangout. Absolutely, we learned a lot about Tim and what you've been up to with your life and coding and all that stuff. So yeah, it was super fun. Random discussions, which is always excellent for sure. So let's kick things off by talking about the camera that I've been using for a few weeks now. I've just sort of been subtly using it in the background. I'm going to show it to you in a second if I can just see what I'm doing here. But for now, you can just see a quick look at it. It's the Lumix BGH1 that I've been using. It's this sort of box style camera. It's basically a little cube, micro four thirds lens, and you can come back to that product page in a few minutes because I have a camera here, and I'm just trying to remember, did I plug everything in? It would appear I did. Excellent. Let me just launch up this camera here. So I have been testing this out. The fine folks at Lumix consumer division here in the southern in Sweden, in the Nordics, but particularly in southern Sweden here, this is the first time that I've ever had someone lend me a product, because this is on loan from them just for a little while so I could test it out and see if I liked it. But it's the first time I've ever had somebody who loaned me a product who actually came to this house, to the tiny house here, and delivered it to me to test out for a few weeks, which is really cool. The guy who works there in Panasonic doesn't live too far away from me. Everything just kind of worked out really nicely. So he was able just to, drive on around one day and leave it off. And then whenever he wants it back again, which I'm sure he does at some point, he will no doubt drive on around and steal it back off me again. But let me see if I can cut to this camera here, and you can see a little general look. So this is a little mini behind the scenes of the mess of a table that I have going on here. My laptop's there, iPad's here, the box that's still in the works is there. And then on top of that, I have my camera mounted, and you can see here that it's the BGH1. Now in this particular box, you can see a little monitor there of me. Hey, how you doing? This particular one, because it was a loaner from them, it came with this cage and handle on it. That's not something that I have put on there, but actually it makes it really easy to reach out, grab it, and really throw it and rotate it and fix it into position, because it does move around a lot. I haven't quite tightened that bolt there, but you're not interested in that. You're interested in the camera. So I'm just going to spin it around a little bit and try and get a good angle of the back here. So you can see there that that's actually a network connection that's attached there, that sort of semi-transparent blue cable, and then just behind it on the other side, you can't quite see it, but there is a HDMI connection too, and then there's SDI on this camera as well, which is really nice. I can show you some pictures of it in a second, just as a so you can get a glimpse of what it actually looks like. But it is this tiny little. Well, maybe it's not tiny. I don't have the measurements in front of me here, but it's not very big either. And what I like about it is that it's micro four thirds as well. So I have plenty of those lenses because I've been using the Panasonic GH5 for years now, actually, on all sorts of productions. But it really worked out well for me because this is exactly what I like to use. So this camera fit very nicely into my setup. I can use a SDI HDMI, and right now I have the HDMI run out of the camera and then into this little confidence monitor over here, which I can use just to check some things. And then I can run from there out into this monitor in front of me here. And then from there, I'm actually running it out and looping it out of this monitor, then into my ATEM. So it's taking a few steps before it actually gets into my production. And the beauty of the SDI and HDMI means that you might have noticed that there's no screen on the camera either, which is, let's be honest, a bit of a challenge the first time you get it. You actually have to, you do really have to connect the screen to it on the first time use, because there's really no other way to do much with it until you connect the screen. And then after that, you can connect up a phone to control it and the control app, which I'm going to show off in a second or two. But like I said, as soon as you get it, there's no screen on there. You need to have a monitor of some sort, HDMI, SDI monitor, just to get things set up at first. Now, because I have it connected over HDMI, let me just put that down over there for a second. And I'm just going to reach out and do something that I wouldn't usually do, which is turn on the menu on the camera. So I have it connected over HDMI. That's why you're seeing that menu when I press the button. What I can do is connect a monitor over HDMI and then a second monitor or the output over SDI. And I can just choose to turn on the menu stuff over the HDMI so that the menus never make it into the SDI feed. That is an option that I could do. But for my use case, I only use HDMI right now, really, so I really need to keep it on there. In fact, if I launch into the menu system here, you can see it's all on there, all the menus that I need to control, and I could do everything this way, which I'm not going to do right now because it's a bit of a stretch of the arms. So I'll turn those off again. And let me just load up. I thought I had it loaded, but let's see the Tether application. Where are you at? What's it called? So it's called, you download a piece of software either on Graham says there was a weird beard effect there. You're absolutely right. It was like a focus like a focus effect. So this is the, I'll show you that. Make sure I'm showing you that. Excellent, I am. This is the what's called the Panasonic Lumix MultiView Tether application. So it looks a bit like, I mean, this kind of reminds me of some of the older Canon connection lenses Canon applications that I used to run on computers whenever I used to use Canon cameras. But I can launch this live view here. Now it did work. It just launched on my other screen. Let me just drag it over, and now you can see me again. Hello. And now there's a really weird beard effect going on. Really funky blue finish to my beard. But I can control the whole camera via this. Right now I'm connected over USB and possibly network. It's possibly connected to the network too. Well, I know it's connected to the network, but I could do it either way. And then in here I can change all the settings in the camera as well. Oh, I can't do that because of something else that I'm doing. That doesn't matter. So I could bump it down a little. Change all the settings as you would imagine. And I can also launch into the menus as well. Which is not showing up right now for some reason. But I don't need to show you the menus. You get the gist of how the menus work. So the idea being that you can connect, you know what, I'll cut back to myself. The idea being that you can connect multiple of these cameras to your network and control them, because the whole sort of vision for these cameras is that they're used during live productions. Now, really they are made and designed to be used with Panasonic gear and things like that. So that's why this particular example of having one, I kind of wanted to get a couple, but it was a lot to ask to really get a couple. So I didn't get a couple. Oh, that's the wrong window. I wanted to open up this one. And yeah, in fact, I'll just show you real quickly the front of it. In this picture, will it work? On picture. So you can see up on the side here, you have a little tally light up at the top, which whenever you connect this stuff to, and if you're just joining us now, which it looks like you are here, which camera is this? This is the Panasonic Lumix BGH1 box camera that I've got on loan. I'm just testing out a little bit right now. Thanks for the comment. You can see a little tally light that shows up there. So you can actually use this for live video production and all that stuff. Multicam setups. That's really the idea behind it. And then I'll just show you the back real quickly as well, where you have the LAN port. You also have USB, which I'm connected over. HDMI. You have the timecode and Genlock and SDI output as well, which is great. And then you just can't quite see it there, but mine is connected to the mains power, and I'm not using battery or anything like that. So that's a look at that camera. Check in and see if there's any questions, if there's anything specific you want answered about it. My idea for borrowing it really was so I could test it out and see if I liked it for my setup, and if it's something I would consider whenever I'm upgrading in the future maybe, or if there's like a Model 2 of this come out someday, maybe it's exactly the kind of thing that I want. Like I said, since I already used the GH5 and I really like it, and I really like the lenses, so that's kind of the idea I wanted to take a look. So let's see if there's any questions that happen to pop up. Oh yeah, we have MT coming in with the specifications here. 93 millimeter height by a width of 93, by a depth of 78. So not quite a cube, but not too far off. And 545 grams. Thank you for that. That's very kind of you. That was just what I needed. Question here from Julian. Compatible Mac OS. Is this application compatible on Mac OS? Yes, there is a download for the Mac app. You know what? I'm just going to check that real quickly, just in case. BGH1 Tether Mac. Because whenever I was downloading the Tether application, it did ask if I wanted to download the PC or Mac version. So let me just take a look at this, PC2. There we go. So this is the the Lumix Tether for Multicam application. And there you go. You can see there is a PC and a Mac version. So that answers your question. Yes, you can. I haven't tried it with that actually. I've just tried it with a PC so far. Any other questions on this? Nice little box, but 2K isn't quite cheap without lenses. Absolutely. Not necessarily a cheap option at all. I think it may end up being a specific use case kind of camera. I think especially if you have like Panasonic gear already in your setup. Let me see. Do they have? I'm hoping that they had like a really good multicam style. Yeah, they don't really necessarily show it off too much as like a. So they call it the live camera, right? But I would love to see what it looks like with tally on. Yeah, okay. We can just take a look at this real quickly. So you can see there the tally showing up. Oh, it happened very fast. You barely saw it. And then you can obviously put on the same sort of Lumix stuff that you would for the other cameras. But their general idea is for a what seems like a sort of multi-purpose style camera in this form factor that you can actually add to in general. Question here, does it encode NDI stream out through the LAN port? No, it does not. That was one of my first questions actually. Does it do that? And unfortunately, it does not do that. But what it does do, and what I wanted, or what I was thinking of showing off in this stream, but I didn't quite get that far, was RTSP. So what you can do whenever you connect it to the network is you can send RTSP and open that up in OBS or vMix or VLC as well, and things like that. So you can stream out of the camera from the LAN port, but unfortunately it doesn't have an NDI. I would really love to see that actually. That would be really cool. Do you know the camera is also? Did you know the camera is also PoE powered? If you're saying that as a fact, then are you asking that? I'm just wanting to double check, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. You can. It is. Yeah, you're right. So with this with the PoE Plus, you can power the camera as well. I don't have any PoE stuff here in the house. Something I'm thinking about moving towards, but I don't have any of that right now, so I wasn't able to test that out just yet. Thanks for the reminder. Here's one from NYC IRL. I bought this camera and I love it, especially for live production. Excellent. Let us know what you're using it for. I'd love to know a little bit more about your setup for sure. Do you know what are the best options for batteries? Andreas wants to know. I personally would stick with whatever they recommend on the website. That's what I usually say for batteries and stuff. I've definitely bought cheaper batteries in the past and it's not really worked out. But in my case, for live production, I don't ever want to use batteries. I want to go powered from the wall, from mains power all the time. So something that I don't really use much anymore than that is batteries, that's for sure. Yeah, that's the BGH1. I think that was a quick little run through of its features. I'm interested if you want me to go deeper into it in the future. Specifically, if you want to see a specific double specific video about it, then I can look into that definitely. But I'm kind of thinking that since there is an API for the tally stuff, and I'm sure I could do some work to make that work with ATEM and things like that. It doesn't fit hugely seamlessly into my setup here, so I don't necessarily. I don't know. It's a really interesting camera. That's why I liked it and grabbed it. The camera is approved by Netflix, the cheapest Netflix approved camera. There you go. That's an interesting thing to know. Thanks, Rowan. And I guess my point is, if I didn't have the GH5 already, if I had an older Panasonic camera in that lineup and I wanted to upgrade, then I would definitely go for this. Having used the GH5 for months now on this stream and for many other recordings, I thought I would miss the screen, but I don't miss that at all. What I really like about this is the fact that it is just a lot more specific to the use case. And having the HDMI and SDI, I've used those for plenty of things while I've been testing it out as well. So if I was on like a GH3, maybe even GH4, and I was thinking about upgrading to something along the GH5, but I wanted to use it for productions, then I would actually definitely consider this BGH1. I think just in my case, since I have the GH5, it's a hard sell for me to want to, get rid of that and switch to this. But I definitely like it more than my G7, which I also have. This is I think, much better camera than that for sure. But it's also a much more expensive camera, so it's very different. Here is a question: does this camera in a live production setting work better as a locked-off camera or a camera with sticks with an op? I find these kind of cameras to really work well for locked-off style productions. The reason I say that is because I haven't personally had much luck with autofocus on cameras like this, and you may not use autofocus too much in your productions, but it can really help you a lot. And I don't know if certainly for the GH5, I haven't been happy with the autofocus on that. And some testing on this, I haven't hugely been happy with the autofocus either. So I would really, if I was going to be walking around, I really would like to have the option of being able to just throw on the autofocus, especially, yes, on sticks is good, but if you were going to do something more like on a gimbal or on some sort of stabilization, it would be really nice to have that as an option as well. I would personally lock this off, or maybe on sticks, on a camera with a fixed lens, tracking a person walking across the stage. That would be a perfect use case as well. Maybe in a studio as well would be pretty good, but I don't know, run and gun live production might not be so great. I'm not sure though. I would really need to try that out. And maybe NYC IRL would be able to help us. I've used it for live corporate events where the AV company wanted to use SDI to the video board for live stream. That's a good use case, definitely. Having the both HDMI and SDI means that whatever people you end up working with or whatever gear you have to integrate with, you're kind of good to go in terms of that. So definitely. And you could put a servo lens on it with the handles. That's for sure. You could definitely do that. And that's quite nice about the box style setup here. Let me see. Cut to this one. You can see on the side here, even in this hero photo, you have mounting options on the side. You can have them on the top, and I believe on the other side too. So it's definitely one of those kind of cameras built for rigging out and using for all sorts of stuff. There's a couple of shots here with it a little bit more rigged out, and I'm sure they have plenty of shots with it rigged out in other places for sure. All right, cool. You know, we really raced through time here. Maybe I can take any more thoughts on this camera. We can talk about MixEffect a little bit in the post show, which is coming up in about 5 minutes time, which is fast approaching for sure. So MIC IRL says, I also used it in a short film. The image was great. I never used the autofocus. Absolutely. That's the kind of stuff I can imagine it being really useful for, is short film productions and all that stuff. I haven't really done much short film stuff in years, but I've definitely used my GH5 for lots of sort of A-roll, B-roll type scenarios where I can lock off the camera, get some good shots, maybe an interview style thing and all that stuff. So so that's a good example, definitely, of a way to use it for sure. Hello here from Wagner. Nice big comment. Hello, greetings from Brazil. Tried to use MixEffect for iOS, and it seems my iPhone 7 Plus couldn't handle it. Wi-Fi disconnecting like crazy when dealing with the audio tab. Am I out of subject? Yes, you are, but that's okay. Well, we can talk about that some more. I'm not entirely sure I can help with that. Maybe we can rope Adam, the developer, in at some other point to talk specifically about MixEffect and how maybe you can help it. I know the networking stuff it really depends on your network, for example, and it's I mean, I haven't had any connection issues with MixEffect myself yet, but then I haven't used it for anything mission critical, maybe just yet, so I haven't been relying heavily on it at this point. But we can come back to that for sure. MixEffect will be our post-show subject, and anything else you want to talk about, of course. And yes, go deeper into the camera. Yeah, maybe I can scope out a video specifically about how I might use it in the tiny studio here and that stuff. In this case, Jim wants to know, in this case, does PoE mean I'll get power over the Ethernet cable? Yes, correct. So your Ethernet switch on the other end would need to provide the PoE plus power, and then that would power the camera through that one cable, which is really nice. So if you, in theory, were powering the camera over that one cable and then sending a RTSP stream out of the camera, then that would be a one cable camera setup for a pretty nice low profile production. So that would be a good way to do it. Hello from plenty of other places, which just came in. Excellent. And absolutely, there is no information at this time regarding NDI for this camera, which is definitely a shame. I would love to see NDI in this camera. I only use NDI a little bit around the house here. Something I'm considering using a bit more, but these days, it's hard to see a camera come out with a LAN port on it, and one of the first questions not be, is NDI supported? I understand from a price even perspective, it would be more expensive, the camera, or you'd have to pay for a NDI upgrade, but as soon as you see that LAN port, many people, in fact, I think my first question to the Panasonic guy I was talking to was NDI, and the answer was no. So it would be really nice to see that. I get the impression that the team, certainly here and then on the manufacturing side too, are very keen to hear feedback on the camera. So if it's something that, you know, we as a community really push for, then I'm sure they would really consider it as well. So it's not impossible to have some sort of upgrade in the future, definitely. Okay, cool. You know what? We'll get into MixEffect in a few seconds. So if you are watching live, stick around because we're going to go into the post show and talk loads more about all this fun stuff and do a little demo of MixEffect and how it works with MultiView. And you can show the MultiView on your MixEffect application. We'll get to that. I just want to thank a couple of supreme supporters of the channel before we go into the post show. We have Petra over at Tech Condo, Jim, who was here earlier over at Cloud Bedrock, and also Patrick as well as the third supreme supporter of the channel. I really appreciate the support to you and all the members, all of the lovely members who have joined in at the chat today as well. It's always nice to have people here. I can get rid of this comment. People here showing support of the channel. So if you're watching live, like I said, just stick around for a few seconds while I roll this quick thing, stop the recording, and start the post show. See you in a second.